Welcome to Golden Black Live, Valentine's Day edition. I don't know that it's a day for buying flowers and watching Golden Black Live. So, and we appreciate our sponsors, State Farm agent Trent Johnson. Trent is myagent.com. Kerry Ayersman and Greg Ayersman at Triple X on the hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. Special guest today on the show, Tom Dienhart's first segment guest. That's always special. But President Mung Chiang will join us for segment 2, and Rick Mount, segment 3. We'll have some fun talking to those gentlemen and in the wonderful world of Purdue sports, Purdue basketball, and the back end, obviously, with Rick Mount. All right, Tom. It is a dead period in football, but you had on Thursday about 7 interviews. You did Zoom interviews with the assistant coaches. You posted a story on late Thursday, Friday morning on Josh Henson. But start with that, just kind of your overall impression. I mean, I know when you do that many interviews back to back, that's a lot. But obviously, Coach Barry Odom's has assembled a staff. You're going to talk to 3 of them next week, I think you said. Yeah. But give us your overall impressions of what you heard and any great news that came out of those interviews for right now.
One of these things is not like the other. You got Mung Chiang, Rick Mount, and me.
Yeah, there you go.
But
me too.
Yeah, it's always fun. First time we've had any real interactions with these assistant coaches, like you said, Alan. We got 7 of them on Thursday. The only 3 we didn't get, we're going to get early next week. We didn't talk to Jake Trump, Kelvin Green. Those 2 guys run the defensive line, and we didn't talk to James Shebas, the special teams coordinator. But yeah, you're right. I posted sort of I pick out the 5 most interesting responses from these guys, and I posted the offensive coordinator Josh Henson. I think it was last night. A good guy. It's funny. He was on the Oklahoma State team, Al.
Excuse me.
That lost to Purdue in the Alamo Bowl, if you remember that ball game. So
that's right, 1997, right?
He remembers that loss to Purdue team, but. Yeah, again, it was just nice to hear from these guys. There's always a lot of questions about the quarterbacks. Of course, we talked to Darren Henshaw, the quarterbacks coach, and we asked him.
Sneezing like crazy. That's live, but go ahead. Excuse me.
Yeah, about just the quarterback derby, how it's going to be handled, what the competition is going to be like, how soon they can name a starter. Of course, there's just so many unknowns right now. They haven't even put pads on yet and hit the practice field. So, Darren Henshaw said, "Hey, man. If one guy really does start to separate himself from the pack, maybe Barry Odom will pick a starter early. But I got to think, even if somebody is an apparent leader here coming out of spring ball, I got to think there's not going to be anybody tabbed the number 1 signal caller. I think you want to keep people engaged through the summer, right? Even if you're the head coach, hey, this is my quarterback. I'm not going to say it. You want everybody still engaged in that quarterback room to compete throughout summer, then into fall camp. So again, Malachi Singleton from Arkansas, E.J. Colson of Central Florida, and Evans Chuba, who came from Washington State, are the 3 real contenders here. So that'll be interesting as well, Alan. So we talked to Mike Shear, the defensive coordinator, a younger guy, Cornell Ford. Longtime Odom assistant, worked in Missouri, recruited St. Louis for years. He's a Gary, Indiana native. Of course, Lamar Kennard, the one holdover, right? Talked to Lamar about Devin Mockabee. And just the long story short, it was good to hear from these guys and start to get a little background on them and some of their early thoughts on the team.
Yeah, obviously spring practice is going to start in March, and this is kind of still a workout. I assume right now still workouts going on and all those kinds of things. Any other updates in terms of what they're doing from a team standpoint in the month of February?
Yeah, the weightlifting obviously is continuing, and the players on their own are doing some workouts, in the facility and in the mall and co-op. So just rudimentary stuff in shorts and T-shirts at this point. Quarterbacks obviously throwing to receivers, things of that nature, climbing on footwork and different hand techniques, things like that. Like you said, March 4th, Alan, that's the start date for spring football. You get 15 practices, if you will. Yeah. And, of course, they are going to have a spring game, and it's supposed to be televised on BTN+. So, that's right around the corner, too. And also right after the start of spring football, Alan, on March 5th, Purdue's going to have its pro day over in Mollenkopf, and there's going to be quite a few former Boilers there working out for pro scouts. And Alan, the combine starts this month too. All eyes for if you're a Purdue fan on Marcus Bowe, the offensive lineman. You know, he's the most likely Boilermaker to get picked. He is going to get picked, Alan. He could be a top 100 pick if you believe what he's right now. And he's going to work out in Indianapolis at the combine. So the scouts like Marcus a lot, Alan. He can move. He's big. He's strong, and he can play guard or tackle too.
Hudson Card, you talked to this week on the site, of course, the Purdue quarterback for the starting quarterback for the last 2 years, except for obviously the games that he had some injury issues. But interesting guy, because here's Hudson, a guy that comes into Purdue very highly regarded, at least from a recruiting standpoint. Had a few moments at Texas, had a few moments at Purdue too. I mean, it wasn't like it didn't all work out for him, but. You know, what's your, you know, where does a guy like Hudson Card go as he tries to navigate his way onto a NFL roster, at least be in consideration for that? Because he's a guy that at least on paper has the skill set that's going to at least warrant some level of consideration.
Yeah, good guy, Alan. I talked to Hudson. He's in San Diego. He's actually staying with his brother that lives out there, and he's doing quarterback work with Jordan Palmer. Who's Carson Palmer's younger brother. Jordan played at UTEP and also played in the National Football League. So, yeah, Hudson's doing all the requisite skills and whatnot, throwing the receivers, working on different things with his weight transfer and his footwork and his release. I chronicled a lot of that story I posted, I think, earlier this week. So he doesn't have an agent yet, though, Alan.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I found that curious, too, and I think he realizes there probably needs to be a little sense of urgency to get an agent, I think. So he has that on his to-do list. So you're right. I texted, I know a couple of NFL scouts pretty well over the years, and I stay in touch with them for things like this, just to sort of get their assessment of the Purdue guys now off the record. And this scout told me, he goes, I have him as a free agent. He says, this is not a great quarterback class. So no shock there. I think Hudson Card is probably a long shot to get picked at all, Allen. If he is, it's probably going to be a third-day pick. Most likely just going to be a guy who has to sign a free agent contract, gets into camp. But, you know, I know he had a very trying situation over here, Alan. Last year was a train wreck. And, you know, he often was running for his life the last 2 years. He got banged up quite a bit. So you wonder if we really got a good look Hudson Card, you know. Remember the opener when he set the NCAA record for completion percentage? I know that was a state, but we know there's flashes in him. He's a good athlete.
He'll always be in the Purdue record book. Well, not always, but 24. Was he 24 or 25? Is that what it was? Something like that.
He's a legit 6'2". He's taller than me. I'm a legit 6 foot, and just a good guy. He's smart. He's not real vocal, Alan. Not real. Look at me. He always strikes me as being understated from a personality standpoint. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But he's just a good guy. Football doesn't work out. Hudson's a good-looking, smart guy. He's going to be successful whatever he does. But I certainly hope he gets a good crack. And if you're an NFL fan, if you're watching this, you probably are. You know the dearth of talent at quarterback in the NFL and the constant search for quarterbacks. So there's going to be teams who want to get a good look at Hudson Card, I think.
Yeah, well, we talked about another Purdue subject, Aiden O'Connell, of course, new coach with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I know Aiden was drafted, but you know, you guys have started from a long way down and get a chance to play. You just never know. David Blau was undrafted, I believe, and got a look, and then ended up getting a good gig, has a good gig and got a great future, it seems, in the NFL. David Blau is a great guy. He's going to do well. That's my point is, you want to get yourself in the mix. You love football, and you want to get yourself in the right spot, and that maybe that's playing if you get all things work out right. But Hudson impresses me, and coach quarterbacks, that knowledge set is a premium for potentially coaching down the road, all those kinds of things.
Sometimes you're better off being a free agent instead of being a pick. You can choose this team you go to. Sometimes you get even a little nicer signing bonus. So, and if he's not picked, I'm sure there's going to be some competition to sign him. And again, he's got to get an agent and then start sorting through those free agent offers. if that's the case when we get to the draft here, which is going to be in Green Bay in April. So, yeah, you're right. Aiden O'Connell was a 4th-round pick. David Blau, like you said, was undrafted. It's funny. I remember he ended up starting a game or two as a
Oh
rookie.
yeah. Oh yeah.
He started on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
Now, he probably started 6 or 7 games in his career now. Sure, fans have realized that he's a rising star in the coaching ranks in the National Football League. And he's a guy that I wouldn't be shocked if maybe he's a head coach in the NFL one day. So, again, we all know how he carries himself, and he's a student of the game. And boy, the work he's doing with Jaden Daniels in Washington. Other teams tried to hire him. The Redskins would not allow it to happen. And they wanted to retain him to work with Cliff Kingsbury for that franchise in D.C. that's really on the rise.
Yeah, great place. He's in great position, certainly to for that from a career standpoint, and as good a guy as you're ever going to find anyway. And
I'm going to talk to Gus Hartwig today.
Yeah,
Gus is down in Florida working out. Gus and Marcus were the only 2 Boilermakers that played in All-Star games. Of course, Marcus played in the Glamour event, the Senior Bowl. Gus played in the Shrine Bowl, and he acquitted himself pretty well in that ball game in Texas. And he's been working out in Florida. And he's one of my favorites, and we'll see if Gus gets picked or not. If Gus gets picked, it's probably going to be a 3rd-day guy. He didn't get a combine invite. He just missed out on getting a combine invite. He's a guy, he's a center, obviously, a huge guy. You stand next to Gus, he swallows you up. He's a legit 6'5". And remember, Alan, there was a time where he played guard and tackle too.
Yeah,
he had those injuries in 2023. So Gus is versatile. Gus is smart too. That old Hartwig family is smart. Starts with their dad Miles, but Gus is smart, and boy, he's played a lot of football here, Alan. And his that size and his versatility. If he's not picked, for sure he's going to get into camp. And I got a feeling Gus is probably going to make a roster one way or another.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot. Always something going on in the wonderful world of Purdue football and the storylines around that are appreciated. There'll be more on the site. It's a dead period in recruiting, but still they have some visits going on.
Yeah, I had some stuff in boiling over, and I posted another story today. I got about 6 or 7 official visit guys I know are coming for official visits. Some are as soon as April. Some are as late as they've already scheduled some out to June, if you can believe it. But you're going to see more guys set up official visits for Purdue here. A lot of guys are going to come, if not on official visits, they're going to come to watch a spring football practice. That's a popular event. You're going to see 3 or 4, sometimes even maybe more than that. High school kids, 2026 kids, 2027 kids show up and watch spring practices here too. Alan, you got to recruit every day, and you got to have something on your checklist to do if you're a football coach that involves recruiting every day. And that's the big thing coming up for spring practices, hosting guys for those practices and guys setting up official visits. We know Purdue's got 1 commitment in the class of 2026, the big offensive lineman from St. Rita High, or Marist High, I should say, in Chicago. Who's going to be the next commitment? I don't think there's anybody right on the precipice of committing. But again, they're always moving full steam ahead. But there's not. The coaches can't leave campus right now, Alan.
All right. We will always appreciate your work. And as I said, nobody covers it better than Tom Dienhart, and we're appreciative for that. All right. We'll take a 2-minute break. And President Mung Chiang, I think Tom Dienhart should be in the same room with Mung Chiang and Rick Mount. I don't know why you take a back seat to anybody, but Mung will join us. And then Rick Mount will join us in segment 3. It's the always lively Rick Mount. Always has something to say, I should say. Mm-hmm. And trying to get him up for the UCLA game. We'll see if that happens. Of course, Purdue plays Wisconsin on Saturday. But the Bruins will be coming in 2 weeks from Friday, of course.
The 28th.
At the arena. 28th of February. So, all right, have a great rest of your day, Mr. Dienhart. And we will take a 2-minute break and be back on Gold and Black Live.